Good morning, everyone. My name is Algirdas Cebatorius. Thanks, Simon. You did very well with my name. I know it's a complicated one. I'm representing company Emerson, and we are, I would say, a global automation leader. My job is I'm a sales director for Poland, Baltics, and Ukraine, working on emerging industries and sustainability programs. Basically, this is why we are here. And we did a small change for our plant presentation. It will not be me alone. I know I can look boring. I got my colleague Darius Janas, who will help me out on the later stage. So we already figured out that there are quite good, let's say, he's already experienced with biomethane, biogas, or renewable natural gas, whatever name we will put on that, throughout Europe, and as well some nice installations in Poland. So we know that there is waste which can convert it to the energy, which is great. Also, Mindaugas did a great job with all these certificates of origins, and one of the crucial and key points in all of those installations, of course, is to have waste, then to have technology, then to have certificates. But if you want to convert it to the money, you will need automation for that. You will need accounting, quality, and other systems, which are crucial, and you need really reliable and accurate. So that's where we are. So I will start briefly. Who is Emerson? And Emerson, on these days, we are facing, I would say, a major change throughout the history of the company. And the history of the company is very long. And you will see that later on. So we are seeing that automation technologies are becoming more and more crucial, and even going into the higher level of the operations, into the information technologies. So we are under the conversion of the company to be not only automation but also software company, and that's basically the change which we are seeing, and the message from our CEO, Lal Karsanbhai. So a little bit briefly around Emerson, more than 130 years history. Of course, there was more changes within the company. We are a global company, founded in the US. We are smaller now, only like 70,000 employees, around 14 billion in terms of sales, and we are just everywhere. We are proud being also automation and software company. As you see, there are business segments over there, which is the newest acquisition of us is AspenTech, I would say a leader in terms of industrial software, digital twins, and manufacturing execution systems. And we are just everywhere with rich experience all over the place. If we look on our business, so as I told before, there are basically two pieces of the business: automations with intelligent devices, and software and control. And it's really crucial to get them connected. If we look into our sales by geography, as American company, not a big surprise, majority of the business is still in the United States, but this share is continuously shrinking, because other world areas are catching up very significantly, and we are getting better and better all over the world. Around 13% of our business comes from software on these days, because to measure and to have measurement or to have control, it's not anymore. You need to employ artificial intelligence or digital tools which can help you to work with that data which you get from your process. And we are presenting all of the markets, I would say, if we talk about general industries, discrete, power, and renewable. Especially renewable sector on these days is growing really, really significantly. We are in Europe. We are around 20,000 of employees, almost all over the Europe, just almost every country, I would say. Here in Poland, we are close to 1,000 employees. Here we have manufacturing location and several sales and service offices around the country. I will not dive deeply into that one. And as you see, 13% of the business is software, and majority of the business is intelligent device. And if we look throughout our portfolio, we have tools for safety and productivity. We have solutions for discrete automation, measurement analytical devices, which are crucial for renewable industry. Then, of course, control valves and final control devices, and of course, control systems, and going up to the corporate level of the software throughout DCS systems. And the software part is growing significantly because of digitalization, basically. I talked on the beginning about the change, so basically this is all about the change of the company. So we have the divestitures of the company lately, and the newest one was divestiture of climate technologies. That's one of the, I think, biggest divestiture in the Emerson history. And of course, we got money out of that, and we invested. And mainly investments are going into the emerging industries, where we have companies, software companies like Fluxa and Micromine, who are active in metals and mining industry and pharmaceutical. And AspenTech, together with Mita. Mita is a Danish company who is working mainly with wind energy and making solutions to make those wind farms, especially old wind farms, more efficient and optimizing all the wind park, not looking to the turbine as a one generating point, but looking to the whole wind park as a one homogeneous system, which should not disturb each other. And AspenTech, as I told already, a software company. And we will keep growing into various technologies because Emerson is investing into the technology to make broader portfolio. Our references, they speak about themselves. Around the world, we have around 60,000 wind turbines. 19% of nuclear reactors are controlled by our technology. And we are #1 in terms of renewable diesel refinery, the biggest in the world. If we look in other market presence, so COVID was a really crucial point. So I would say 3 COVID vaccines produced using Emerson technology, and there are not more of them. And 24 out of 25 companies, they are using Emerson technology. I'm talking about big pharma companies. Huge install base and big. And that's because of our mainly really technological innovation. And we started many years ago from analog going to digital, and there where you see the devices like pressure transmitters and valve controllers and our control systems with millions of devices sold. Then from centralized control in the plants, we go to control in the field. And this is very crucial technology in terms of renewable energies because you have many small sites all around the country or even continent. And in most of the cases, they are manless because they need to operate by themselves. And that's where, and you need to still keep the safety and efficiency and operate it safely. So then also as projects are changing, you can't reinvent the wheel every time you do the projects or every time you do. So that's where we have really invested from off-the-shelf technology that you can buy some piece as a simple product which has life cycle services, maintaining and everything. And this is, I think, crucial for every industry. And recent changes is related with operational and maintenance. And because I think most of the people who are from industry really remember the time when we've been running till failure and then fixing. It's too expensive, in my opinion. And everyone is seeing that. So now we need to talk about predictive maintenance and predictive diagnostics. So basically fix the problem before it occurred and plan as much as advance. So that's where we are as a company. And of course, of all these climate changes, we launched several years ago the environmental sustainability framework, which consists basically of 3 factors. As a global company, we do have manufacturing locations, factories, offices, service operations. So we are not saints, we are also polluting. So that's why we focused on ourselves as well, because if we talk about sustainable technologies with our customers, the best example you show is yourself. So greening off is basically we are looking to all our supply chain and all our manufacturing locations and all our operations and trying to and making them year by year more and more sustainable. Then if we took the next pillar, it's greening by. So that's where we work with our customers and trying to increase their energy efficiency, help them to change the feedstocks, help to change energy resources, and optimize current energy consumption with our technologies. And greening with is events like that and collaborations with various science institutions in investing into new R&D solutions and trying to make it. So this is basically our full strategy, which I would say represents really big portion, huge portion of our activities in terms of business and in terms of our activities. And some numbers. So we as every responsible company, we have our targets for ourselves, and these actually match global targets. I think the 2030 is our aim to get our own to net zero. I mean, our own operations, and 2045, we want to make zero throughout all supply chain, which means also our suppliers and all the chain of the supply needs to be totally net zero. And that's where we are aiming as every company, because you can't start the change without changing yourself. So by that, let's switch to the major topic, and let's talk about some calls renewable natural gas, and really, if I would look to the whole supply chain, and we look even quite short term, 10 plus or something that year, I think these biogas or biomethane or renewable natural gas, it is the easiest switch for any industry. Really the easiest switch, because you don't need to change your site too much. You don't need to change, you reinvest, because if power plant is fired by natural gas, it can be fired by biomethane without any investment, just changing the feedstock. So that's why I see really future, and it's going. So if we look to the all the supply chain, of course you have all this, agricultural waste, then biogas plants, which we've seen already this morning, and then from biogas you can, as I told, use this gas for heating quite easily for electricity, or we are talking about upgrading that. And upgrading that means either you inject into the transmission system, into the gas network, or you liquefy it, or you compress it and use as a fuel. It's only the matter of where you need them and how you need them. And having those green certificates, you can really reduce your emission footprint very much. And we will focus, as we heard this morning, you need to have certificates, you need to have feedstock, but at the end, what I was listening, we talked about megawatt hours, megajoules, and quality. And that's why we focused mainly here on the injection station, and injection means also custody transfer station and custody transfer solutions, where you need to ensure your final product, which is biomethane quality, because you can't have low calorific value. You can't feed into the grid something what is not regulated, because there is around many European regulations as well as local regulations. Even you can't liquefy and can't put in your ships or transportation system anything. So here we talk about usage. So basically, if I would look throughout the region on the projects, the major challenges of those are gas quality, and you need to find out about your biomethane quality as early as possible, prior compression, prior liquefying, to send it back and maybe make additional cleaning and things like that. So this is one of the quality of the one of the crucial points in the whole supply chain. Safety and efficiency. For me and for us as working on heavy industry for decades, this was something natural and normal. But if you take our classical power plants, refineries, there are working professionals. And if we come to the biogas market, you come to agricultural plant where actually you meet people who never before had any touch with natural gas, with explosive areas, and with things could explode, basically. So safety and making safety for them, it's really a challenge, and there you need also reliable partners to consult you. Also, I know that even just lately, a couple of months ago in Poland, there was some ease of legislation about biogas plants built or the ones which we will be built in the agricultural areas. So there is some kind of ease of legislation. But this is crucial. And another point which I could share from Baltic countries mainly, if you are building biogas plant and you are thinking where you are going to put your biogas or biomethane, still too much customizable project gives you quite high costs. And if you come to transportation system, you have all these quality system requirements and everything. We see different requirements varies by country, and usually this customization really increase the cost. And if we talk about liquefied biogas, that's even worse, because if you build a really micro plant, liquefying as a technology, it's quite costly. So you need to make sure that you are big enough to have a good return of investment. And one of the cases to simplify the systems as much as possible. So that's how we address when we go into that. So first of all, you need to comply with European standards, local regulations, safety regulations, and if you build custom, it's always a challenge. So standardize as much as possible, and standardization also gives you much lower complexity of your project. And I'm talking in terms of not only during the investment and building phase, but also later on throughout the operationals where you need to maintain and run. So simplifying the systems helps a lot. Safe production, this is another challenge which needs to be addressed, and because if we talk about biomethane, immediately the areas where you produce that becomes potential explosive areas. So you need to establish into your plants additional safety regulations, which were not so used before if you've been just a farmer before. You don't do that. You had different safety regulations for sure. And life cycle cost increase. So if we look into this value chain, we already see the biogas plant, then storage, then we talk about either compressor, liquefaction, or injection. And the major point is injection skid, which we will focus there, because there we will talk about custody transfer, about your quality, about system which can make you money. And with this point, I invite my colleague, which will take over from me, Darek Janos, and he will dive into a little bit deeper details.
Good morning, everyone. So we're trying to build something which will be modular and flexible, because these plants are smaller or bigger. That's the differences are quite high between them. So that's why we are trying to fit to or build something which will be modular and flexible to fit in the local requirements, which, as Algis said before, different in the different countries. So that's you can see on this picture total system which is required to to measure what you sell. Yeah? It doesn't matter which type of the product you will choose. Yeah? That will be liquefying, or that will be CNG, or you inject the biogas to local grid, or you inject the biogas to network. Doesn't matter. On the end, you will need this part which is on the top, and the rest is depends from the local requirements. Yeah? So normally that looks like that. So we build few such a installation, and you can see that is the few parts, and the main parts is the control of the flow and pressure. Of course, that is a safety part, the shut valves, and that's everything is built on the skid. And eventually, we've got in this building where all these things are installed, we've got another part which is safe zone. This is also depends from the local regulation, yeah, because when we've got this biogas, we've got explosive zone, which creates some special requirements, yeah. And if we would like to avoid this zone, time to time we build a special wall, which is protect another part of the building between this zone, and in this part we can install the normal devices. When we regulate this flow, keep the pressure on the end, we must sell product. Yeah, we are not selling the cubic meters, we are not selling the kilograms, we are selling the energy. Yeah? So why do we have so many instrumentation for that? So as you see, we've got the flow meters, different type, because that depends from the local requirements. After that, we've got the quality control and calculation for the energy. Yeah? That is GC and flow meters together made this product, let's say. Because on the end, you've got this kilowatts or megawatts, doesn't matter what you want, but the calculation is made from these two instrumentation. And time to time, so we've got additional requirements like quality of the gas, how many sulfur components are in the gas. That is should be controlled. That is also made by this instrument, which is GC on this on the down. So finally, if you inject the biogas to local grid, that is required some authorization. And that's you can see that this compact authorization station, which can be installed also in the same area. And in this moment, you've got complete system to inject the gas to local network and calculate how many energy you supply to this network. What is the requirement for all this instrumentation? So the main, that is again flexibility, because the best is to sell this product when it's needed. So it means in the peaks. So morning, evening, and time to time, some time which is needed. And normally you supply very low volume. And normally in the peaks you've got 10, 100 times more than non-normal operation. That's why do we need so flexible instrumentation. And everything what I showed before, and this instrument, that is flexible from very low level of flow up to 1,000 cubic meters. So that's our idea to build such a system. On the end, because today everything is digitalized, we've got some software which can apply you to use the system from the desk and the home. Yeah? Normally, these plants staying in the fields in the middle of nowhere, and that is one or two operators which are feeding the system, and that is his job, yeah, and they don't know what is going on there, usually. That is my experience from these plants which are existing in Poland now. And that some operator is sitting somewhere and he controlled from the home what is going on. So for all these things, you need reliable partner which will take your hand and move you through this process. And we can show you additionally what we did in different parts in Europe. So that is some example from the south part of Europe. You can see the real installation in the field. That we've got the few things there. So as you see, that everything is in the one container, and that is on the picture is shown the GC part. And here is the France, where we signed a nice contract for supplying these metering stations. As you can see, that is a lot of them implemented in these grids. Yeah, and of course, if you liquefying this, we've got also that's the solution, and so I can say we've got the nice contribution for the liquefying LNG. Not liquefying for LNG market in Poland. So we made a lot of installation. We've got a very good experience, and we've got in our company meat officer on our board. Then you can he can do all needed documentation for all settlements. Yeah. So thank you. Do you have any questions?